So this morning I want to pose a question for us to briefly reflect upon. Think back, maybe to your younger years. What was the first thing that you really wanted? What was the first thing that you really wanted? Maybe like a toy or a gift or something. Maybe you were at the point where you're in the life where you could purchase it for yourself. What was that first thing you really wanted? For me, it was when I was in high school, and I wanted a cell phone. And this is when cell phones were, just becoming a thing for high schoolers. It was also back in the time when you had free nights and weekends, and you had to pay for all the minutes and all the texts and everything. Now that we have all unlimited, right? And so I remember spending a good amount of time plotting and planning how I was going to get a cell phone for myself near the end of high school. And I remember, thinking about how many lawns, do I need to mow in order to get this amount of texts, this amount of minutes, and all these things, right? I really wanted a cell phone. Probably because a cell phone's cool, but I also wanted to be able to connect with people, to be able to nurture relationships, right? But it was a pursuit, I think, looking back, is something that something that possessed me. It was a possession kind of in my heart. I was spending so much time doing this. And in the end, it was all for naught, as my dad decided I was not going to have a cell phone anyway, so, How many times we can spend our time, energy, money pursuing something, and it doesn't really turn out to why we were pursuing that thing in the first place. I recognize now that was a little bit of a possession in my life. It was something that consumed my time and my thoughts, and when I think back on it, it's like, what maybe did I miss out on that I could have been spending my time and money maybe thinking about? In the gospel today, Jesus is talking about possessions and what we're really created for and how we're called to live. Namely, that life that is full of possessions, a life that's simply lived for the self, may make us happy for a little bit of time, but it's not ultimately going to last. That we're not created for simple happiness, but we're created for more, and we're created for joy. Joy that's not just a momentary experience related to the things of the world, but a deep, lasting way of being that's pointed towards our eternal home, heaven. Today we have this parable of the rich fool. Jesus is trying to bring out this point. And so the rich man has many things. He's been given many things. He has a bountiful harvest. Is it a bad thing that he has a large harvest? No. Jesus is trying to point out that what is the issue? That his harvest becomes a great possession. That he begins to hoard what he's been given. That he knocks down his barns and builds bigger ones so that he can take in more. Why does someone hoard things? Well, they have the belief that if I have more, the happier I will be, the more fulfilled I will be. But then at some point, there's the realization that even though you try to acquire more, there's never really enough to fill that need. So we can be possessive of different things in our lives. Certainly material things, money, food, drink, technology, entertainment, all these things. We can maybe be possessive of a certain lifestyle, a certain way of living. We can maybe struggle with workaholism from time to time. We can be jumping from thing to thing to thing to thing to do more and more. But yet we don't really have time to sit and to rest and just to be. Or it can maybe just be a little more general with our lives. Possessing certain career paths, certain job applications, certain college placements. And to be sure, all these things are good. But ultimately, they're not what we're meant to live for. In the parable of the rich man, he's ultimately living, but he's living for the wrong things. And Jesus says, your life will be demanded of you. And essentially, what will those things mean in relation to that? And so he calls us to not just live for things, but be rich in the things that matter to God. So what matters to God? Our hearts, our lives, of being free of possessions, of being filled with virtue, of being filled with faith and hope and love, of being filled with a desire to give him worship in all the things that we do. Namely, he cares about our discipleship, how we possess him and pursue him in our lives. And that's a possession that fills us not just with happiness, but with joy. This last week, I was down at Catholic Youth Summer Camp, kind of near Columbus area, with 24 of our middle schoolers and high schoolers. A couple of them are up here in the front row, some of our high schoolers. Guys had fun? Yeah, okay. Right? There was an amazing high adventure Catholic summer camp down in Columbus area where kids come from all over the country to come to this camp. And it was not only a fun experience. What do? We paintballed, archery tag, high ropes, swimming, rock climbing, zip lining, all these things. Super fun time. But it was also a deeply transformational time, as God spoke to the hearts of these middle schoolers and high schoolers in very deep ways. Through daily mass, through adoration, through sacrament of reconciliation, and worship. And part of what makes the camp so amazing is the staff that they have. They call them missionaries. So young people, college age, post-college age, kids who are on mission. Namely, they're super dedicated to living the Christian faith and sharing it with other people. And some of them give up their whole summers to be there. But some of them are on a 2-year program to live as missionaries where they really do give up everything. Career pursuits, family, friends, they have to fundraise for themselves. And they live at the camp, ministering to those who are during the summer and then throughout the year to other youth of Ohio. And the one thing that strikes me about these missionaries is their joy. I've never seen a group of young people more alive. And it makes me ask the question, what do they have that I don't? I think their example, and kids can maybe attest to that, so you can ask them questions maybe out in the front. They got t-shirts on, so you can identify them. I think these missionaries, they live in a way that's at the heart of the gospel today, is that when you really do possess nothing, God can give you everything. And so today, as we are living our lives, maybe we ask the question, what am I living for? What am I possessing? What's possessing me? May we not build bigger barns of self-reliance in our hearts, but may we open the barns of our hearts to God, who has given us everything in the first place, and desires that we be willing to give everything back to him. Because when we do, we will be filled with his life, and we will know the joy that he has created us for.